Early morning, Yin found herself by the door of the palace. She already dressed and looked prepared for duties. Currently, one of those is to see the king off. Outside were carriages prepared for the king and the soldiers that will accompany him. The servants are currently loading trunks in a carriage. Yin suddenly had the urge to yawn again, and cannot hold it any longer. So, she let herself. As soon as she realized it, she looked around to see that no one is yet around inside except for Uraka, standing beside her. The girl, too, looked tired from wakening much earlier than the queen. "Morning, your majesty." Suddenly, Mina emerged from her side. She curtsied and skipped over to Yin. "Good morning, Lady Mina." "It's still so early. Aren't you tired, your majesty?" "Not really," Yin answered, although her constant yawning from earlier said otherwise. Oh, they're here!" Mina exclaimed and looked ahead to see Bakugou walking towards them with Kirishima trailing behind. There were also soldiers following, but Yin noticed that most is the fluffy thing in Kirishima's arms. "Oh my god, is that a Pomeranian?" Mina cooed, causing Yin to scratch her neck in order to see clearly. Mina wasted no time and dashed to Kirishima as she admired all over the cream-colored Pomeranian. Yin then followed after her and looked at the dog. As soon as she met her eyes on it, her heart melted. "He's adorable," Yin said with a big smile on her face. She completely forgot about her husband beside her. Kirishima then stopped forward and gently pushed the dog to her. "This is for you, your majesty." Yin's eyes widened and her mouth curved into a wide smile. "Why, thank you so much." She expressed her delight, then reached her hands out for the dog. It immediately jerked away and tried to escape. Kirishima managed to keep it still. Yin laughed slightly and stepped back. "Oh, he's quite wary." She laughed nervously. "Here." Kirishima slowly handed the dog to a queen. "Approach him gently." Yin did what she was told. The Pomeranian looked like it had a glare before it now was gone bit by bit. By then, Yin was allowed to scoop the dog in her arms. "It's so cute," Yin exclaimed once more. Thank you, Kirishima." "No need to thank me, your majesty. He's from Bakugou." Kirishima grinned. "Oh?" Mina teased. Bakugou clicked his tongue and looked away. Yin was about to turn to him, but Kirishima spoke again. "Well, it was actually my idea," he added. "I told him to get you one because, you know, war is cruel and unpredictable. He might not come back at all, so at least you have something to remember him by." "More like you forced me into it, shitty hair," Bakugou growled, glaring at Kirishima. "And who the fuck told you I'm not coming back? I'll kill everyone out there." Kirishima merely shrugged. He expected himself when Mina pulled him away and said a proper goodbye to her husband. "Hey, Sparkles," Bakugou called her. Yin turned to face him. "Deku will. Where's that damn nerd? Anyways, he'll accompany you while I'm gone. If you want to do something, just tell him. And don't ask too much." Yin nodded with a frown upon hearing that nickname Bakugou gave to Midoriya. "It's not expecting a good name to hear. You better stay here while I'm gone, still as my wife. And no messing around with the court," he continued. "What are you talking about?" "I will be emerged with this cute little guy." "I'm fucking serious, Sparkles." Yes, everyone in the court dislikes me anyway, so I can't even mess around," she said, muttering the last part. "What was that?" "Nothing." Bakugou then clicked his tongue. "Remember, you're standing in for me, the king. You'll take care of things here while I'm gone. Don't mess it up." "I won't." Yin shook her head. "Good." Soon Bakugou was outside and already boarding the carriage ready for him. Yin walked and stopped by the entrance. She watched as Kirishima placed a kiss on Mina's temple. Then broke apart when Bakugou yelled for Kirishima to hurry up. As the coachman started to get the horses to go, Yin raised a hand and waved. She didn't even know if Bakugou could see her, but she continued waving until the carriage couldn't be seen by anyone. Are you worried? Uraka asked while carrying the dog for Yin. Yes. Now that Yin had learned Bakugou as a kind of king who would lead to the front lines, she couldn't help but be worried. Her feelings are genuine, even though her relationship with her husband is hardly deep and intimate. Yin couldn't deny the fact that she married him, and it meant she'll be stuck with him for the rest of her life. She told herself to do her best to get along with the king, even though he's ill-tempered and antisocial. Yin told herself to be patient. Kirishima himself said that Bakugou is not the easiest person to be with, but the woman is determined to make her marriage work. He already found her annoying enough, so Yin might have to be more patient than she is and try to understand Bakugou. As the queen consort, it is her duty to stand beside him and help him with everything, for the sake of the kingdom. It is hard enough being a woman in Yin's time, and now she's blessed with a husband like Bakugou. She knew she must remain strong and understanding. I think I want to go visit the town again. It was afternoon when Midoriya had shown himself to Yin. Her last visit in the town didn't go so well, but sooner or later Yin had to go show herself out there. Are you sure, Your Majesty? Midoriya asked hesitant. Yes, Yin nodded firmly, but then she sheepishly smiled. There aren't any executions today, right? The green-haired scholar quickly shook his head. No, I don't think so. Good. The town it is, then. Soon a carriage was prepared for Yin, and then she was on her way to the town with Midoriya. They decided to go to the market this time, eager to avoid the town plaza. By then, Yin saw the lively and colorful market. She couldn't help it, but got out of the carriage immediately, with Midoriya following suit, along with 3 soldiers behind. As they walked, Midoriya told her everything about the market. For example, how most of the goods are supplied by Lady Yaoyorozu's family. Her family belongs to the largest trader and supplier in the kingdom. Also, how the fresh meats come from their very own farm. Midoriya also mentioned how the prices for every product have been increased since the war. Yin frowned at this. Midoriya noticed it and changed the subject. He told her all the positive things relating to the market and the goods, and that's when he started mumbling endlessly. Yin was amused and amazed at the same time. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I got carried away. It's quite all right, actually. Yin shook her head. Well, not everyone thinks the same. Yin tilted her head. I don't get everyone, especially the king. He calls you Deku, and it means good for nothing, which is really offensive and not true. If anything, you're the most hardworking and most valuable person in the court. Midoriya bashfully lowered his head and started scratching the backup bit. Thank you, Your Majesty, and don't worry. Kachan had been calling me that since we were children. Yin blinked at this as the first time she heard Midoriya called Bakugou as Kachan. She found it cute. It wasn't long when Midoriya realized that what he had called the king. I didn't mean to call him that, Your Majesty, he screamed, stopped, and started bowing continuously. I'm sorry. It's fine. Yin had to grab his shoulder to stop him. I don't mind at all. Midoriya was then unable to breathe properly, then resumed walking. As Yin passed by every citizen, she smiled at them. They all smiled back and waved while some curtsied. But you don't mind people calling you Deku, right? Yin asked. Not at all, he said proudly. Even if it's insulting? Well, I don't like that name. That is until someone changed the meaning of it. It made me happy, really. Yin hummed after seeing the fondness in Midoriya's eyes as he spoke. Well, Deku sounds like Dekuri, doesn't it? It means can do, and I believe you can do more things than you think. She didn't wait for Midoriya as she suddenly went dumbfounded, so she smiled and continued walking. She felt Midoriya still following her but said nothing. Yin saw a fruit stall and went over to it. It's the queen. She heard the nearest stall owner whisper, and the man behind the fruit stall bowed and let Yin choose from the variety of fruits. She about picked some blueberries when she heard a scream come from another stall. "Hey, brat, that's not for you to steal." She looked over to see a man holding a boy by his arm. Said boy looked dirty and haggard. A bunch of apples was on the floor while he continued to hold on to one. "I've been wondering you snatching from my goods. It was just you, a little runt." The man continued to scream. He raised his hand and was ready to hit the boy. Knowing what he's about to do, Yin quickly dashed and held the man's arm. He stiffened and turned with a glare. "Who do you think you're laying your filthy?" After seeing Yin, the man quickly let go of the child and went on his knees. He then lowered his entire body and practically kissed the ground as he bowed. Yin thought it was not necessary to do it. "Your Majesty, please forgive me. Your Majesty, I didn't know. Oh, I'm such a—" "Please rise," Yin said, causing the man to snap his head to her with wide eyes. "There's no need for that." She then turned to the boy, who very much looked so terrified, still clinging to one of the apples as if it's his lifeline. Yin then grabbed a hold of her dress and adjusted as she knelt to the child's level. "It's all right." Yin smiled reassuringly. She then turned to the man, then motioned to the scattered apples. "I will pay for all of these. Can you leave the child to me?" "No, you can have it for free, Your Majesty. I dare raise my voice against you." "I will pay. Please." The man decided not to argue anymore and bowed again. Yin, with the help of Midoriya, paid for all the apples that were wasted. She then had Midoriya buy a basket of fruit. For the child. "What's your name?" she asked him, the boy. "Katsuma, Your Majesty." The boy spoke lowly as he did a small bow. "Well then, Katsuma, can you tell me where you live? Your parents must be worried sick for you." "Over there." He pointed to a certain direction. Yin then led Kazuma to her carriage, where they immediately went on their way to where the boy lived. It wasn't a long ride, and soon Yin found herself in the rather poor part of the town. The houses were all small and damaged. Peasants and ragged with dirty clothes were outside, bowing to the queen with such solemn faces. Yin looked around with her mouth agape, her brows furrowed in concern. "My house is over there," Katsuma said, and Yin saw a small, run-down house ahead. From the house, a girl suddenly appeared, running outside from with a sickening look. When the girl saw Yin, she glared, but her eyes shifted to the boy beside her. Suddenly, the girl came running to the boy and embraced him. "Katsuma, I was worried sick." "I told you not to go outside, didn't I?" The girl cried out. "I came to look for food, Oni-chan," Katsuma explained, then turned to Yin. "Your Majesty helped me." Upon the mention of her, Yin smiled at Katsuma's big sister. "Hello." Suddenly the girl pulled Katsuma away from Yin. "Let go of Katsuma. We don't want to be with these people." To say that Yin was very stunned is an understatement. She blinked and looked at the walking figure of a child. Midoriya beside her was stunned too. Then Katsuma broke away from her sister. "But Oni-chan, she helped me. I was about to get punished for stealing food, but Her Majesty was kind to defend me and brought me a basket of fruit." The boy then ran back to Yin. "I'm very sorry, Your Majesty. My sister, she doesn't really like the royals. Please forgive her." Yin then knelt down beside the boy and comforted him. "It is fine, Katsuma. Can you take me inside your house so I can give these fruits?" Katsuma nodded. "Yes." Much to the little girl's dismay, Katsuma had Yin, Midoriya, and the guards inside their small house. If the exterior looks bad, the interior looks empty and cold. "What's your name?" Yin asked the girl. "Maru." "Where's your parents, Maru?" "Our father is currently in war. He's not to come home for months." "What about your mother, sorry." When Maru didn't answer, then looked down, Yin knew right away. She then forced a smile. "I see," the queen said, and then looked around. "It is obvious, but your conditions here is not fitting for children like you. Does your father send you money for the necessities?" Katsuma just tried to steal, food, Your Majesty. Then the war started. We cannot contact Father anymore. He is busy dying for you lot. So no, we don't have pennies for our necessity. Mataru glared, addressing Yin with such despite. Ever since the war started, everyone weren't able to eat much in a day. It got worse, and now we can hardly get by. We all become poor and hungry, while you royals get to be privileged eating 3 or more times a day. It's unfair. So that's why. Yin thought to herself, then turned to Midoriya, who had such a sympathetic look as well. What about rations? She asked the green-haired scholar. Well, we never give rations, Your Majesty. We never did. The rations are strictly reserved for the soldiers. Yin furrowed her brows in disbelief, but then plastered a smile. I see. Mataru is still glaring at Katsuma, stood nervously. Well, as queen, I should tell you that my duty is to serve my people. Mataru raised a brow. However, Yin continued. I can't just ignore the poor conditions in the part of the town with everyone, especially children like you, are starving. I shall work on it and give food to everyone. Katsuma's face brightened and Mataru stared suspiciously. Then she asked, And how exactly are you going to do that? Your Majesty strictly ordered that the rations are only for soldiers. He said that one should ask for his permission in handling it. As soon as Yin got back to the palace, it had already gone dark. Instead of going straight to dinner, Yin wandered into the deeper part of the castle to see the rations. Ooh. Sorry, Midoriya is currently following her all the way while convincing her, Uraka walking behind them quickly and quietly. And let them starve to death. The permission can wait, Midoriya. Once he arrives, I'll tell him. But besides, Yin interjected with a smile, he told me to take care of some things here, and I'm doing that. Right, Uraka? The servant girl immediately beamed. Yes, I heard it too, Deku-kun, so don't worry. All right then. He finally agreed, causing Yin to smile, temporarily. Kachan's really scary when he gets angry, you know. Yin laughed it off and continued walking until they reached the storage room, where Mineta is standing with the serfs surrounding all the stocks. The grape-like short man saw the queen and immediately fixed himself. Your Majesty, he bowed lowly. Countess Mineta, Yin acknowledged. May I see the rations? What for, Your Majesty? I want to give a portion of it to the starving people. I'm afraid you can't do that. Mineta laughed. King Bakugou instructed these rations to be sent to the front lines. He had already counted how much are to be sent and how much are going to be reserved. There has to be some more left. Even if we do, I still have to get permission from the king. Midoriya led in and whispered, See? Yin sighed and suddenly stepped closer to Mineta. I am currently standing in for the king. You can ask me for permission. Mineta didn't look convinced, so Yin made a bold move of kneeling to the man's level, grabbing his hands, and became unaware that her face is close to his. While I am concerned for the safety and well-being of our soldiers, who are currently risking their lives, with them leaving their precious families behind, I also admire and wish for their victory. But I am also made to serve the people because I believe it is my fate, duty, ordeal by God. And I can't just turn away from them when it's me they're relying the most. I won't let them starve. So please, I need your help. As a noble working for the royal family, it is also your duty to support us while we serve to our people. There was a change on Mineta's face. He looked quite pleased, and Yin could swear she saw a slight drool coming from his mouth. He suddenly looked back away, but Mineta followed and continued, leaning in. Well, Your Majesty, if this was your last resort, I guess this could be arranged. He started leaning in. You could have told me we can. Okay, that's quite enough. Uraka suddenly slapped her palm on Mineta's face and pushed him away. Yin's eyes widened when the great man started rolling on the floor. He stopped and sat up. placed a hand on his face and glared at Uraka. Why, you may be a lady, but now you're a servant. You're not allowed to do this to me. Uraka remained unbothered. Yin then stood to get inside the storage room. There, Mineta let her pick whatever amount of rations she wanted, all while sulking and glaring at Uraka. Midori had a few servants separate the rations to be given to the town. The next morning, the carriage was loaded with the rations, while Yin rode in another one. When they arrived, the guards as well as a few servants handed out rations. Thank you, Your Majesty. Katsuma beamed as they were given their share. Maru looked pleased. She said a few words and commented that it wasn't too bad. Then, giving the rations, continued for the day as Yin dedicated herself into convincing Mineta for many times. The people all looked so happy it inspired Yin to do more. That route continued for a week, until one day, Yin was met with a surprise. It was when she got to the dining area for dinner that she was shocked by the sight of her husband sitting on the far end of the table. You're back! She beamed excitedly, watched him only to be stopped when she noticed something. Bakugou doesn't look very happy at all. In fact, he looks very angry.